Hi guys, I'm Charithra Chandran and I play Edwina Sharma.
Hi, I'm Simone Ashley and I play Kate Sharma.
Hey, I'm Sophie Canale and I'm the costume designer of Bridgerton Season 2.
I am Nicola Coughlan and I play Penelope Featherington.
So I had never worked with Sophie prior to Bridgerton Season 2, but Sophie really sort of did have an uphill battle in that I was cast pretty late and pretty near the start day of shooting. So actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but from design to like end product, one of our dresses takes about 40 days to make. And I think Sophie had like 2 weeks. So we were kind of in it together and became very close very quickly because of this. And I'm, happy that we got that experience.
Yeah, it was a good experience to move that quickly together. So yeah, it was a good journey.
Well, we worked together on season 1. So you were already sick of me by the time I came in for season 2. She's like, oh, not you again. Stop. But it was quite fun because Penelope won a progression from season 1 to 2. And the cuts of the costumes changed so much and sort of glowing her up a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, I think with Season 2 and the design of it, I really wanted to push that forward and just develop everyone's characters. So the cuts of the costumes changed and Penelope was on this journey, also with the fabric choices as well. Yeah. You can see there's a definitely distinction of you're maturing as well. You're on a journey.
Yeah, definitely, because you have moments where she sort of becomes the businesswoman and becomes a bit more her own person. So yeah, it felt like little girl to young woman.
Yeah, and that's what we changed the cut of the costume as well. So then you could see this progression, and you can see that from episode 1 in season 2 to episode 8.
Yeah.
Every character is on their own journey. They've got their own distinction, and I was really wanted to develop the colours in the sense of how Ellen Moroznik did in season 1, having each family with their colour palettes. With the Sharmas, for instance, I wanted to bring in the jewel tones of India because we wanted to have that base of their origin as well. So with Edwina and Kate, they're such different characters that on screen I wanted them to look distinctive as well. So using the emerald tones with Kate's character, and also there's a journey Kate's on. She arrives and she's very she's the matriarch of the family. She's wanting to look after her sister, and there's an anger in there as well, isn't there? There's so at the beginning of episode 1, we see her in darker tones. Also the fabric choices as well are silks, so they're heavier weight taffetas, and those tones as we go through the season become lighter, and the fabrics that I chose for the dresses become softer as well. And then with Edwina, she's a softer character, and I really wanted to get that distinction between the two sisters, and having the use of pinks and mauves and tonally looking at your skin tone, we really went on a journey to see what would work. It was great to use these pinks, and you can see in scenes as well to get the emotion for the characters as well, that I use the colour palette in those scenes, especially when Kate's in bed. Edwina's really struggling with that relationship with her sister, so I put her in really muted colours for all those scenes, so then it kind of portrays her emotion as we go along.
Yeah, I think I was in fittings all the time, like a couple of fittings a week, and I think I just really trusted Sophie with the process right from the start. Similar to Charithra, maybe we had a bit longer, but I was cast quite quickly. And I was really thrown into it, and with the first few episodes of the scripts that we received. So yeah, I just really trusted Sophie and the rest of the costume team about this whole process. And I mean, the distinct thing that I took away as an actor was Kate's journey and the colours that we see that change and the different fabrics, and that coincided with the hair and makeup as well. So Sophie's input towards all of that and that journey for Kate really just helped me embody her, I guess. And we see this woman really liberate herself and let go and soften and fall in love. I always felt really safe within my fittings and in the hands of Sophie, and I was just always exhausted with filming, I think. So I was always maybe a little bit quiet and just like a bit, in the whirlwind of it all. But I just remember stepping onto set every day, just loving my costumes. I think my favourites were the riding habits that we can see here. Yeah, with the top hat. I remember when we put the top hat on, I was just like, I can't believe we're doing this. Like, this is so cool.
And what was so fun was that, in the ball scenes and the large scenes where there are loads of cast members, every single one of us would be like, we have the best costume.
Yeah. It's always the competition. Right. It's just like...
But then, because they're so catered and tailored to us, and not only our characters' taste but our taste as well. Sophie's so respectful of our preferences, so like the fact that we all felt like we had the best costume, I think, is very telling to the quality of the costumes. And in a show like Bridgerton, the costumes are as important as, you know, the writing and the journey, and they really are an extension of the character. It's certainly how I transformed into Edwina every morning. I really appreciated that there was always open dialogue. You'd always ask me what I thought about it, and I really admired that.
I think fittings are a really important element to not only getting to understand a character, but also the relationship between departments, really. And it's a really strong, and because there are so many costumes on Bridgerton, there are a ridiculous amount of fittings. You know, you spend a lot of time in fittings because most dresses take at least 4 fittings. So we get to know each other very well.
Yeah, it's hard to overstate how hard the costume department works because, like as you said, 4 fittings a dress. We're doing it, you know, because a normal job, you know, you might have 1 fitting at the beginning where you try everything on. I couldn't get over when I started this show that they were going to make literally everything, including everything the supporting artists wear, which is, you know, we say it, but when you actually see the work that goes in, and there's a room of people just embellishing the fabrics, like even if the fabrics come a certain way, they're added to, and everything is so deliberate and thought about, and it's really astonishing.
Yeah, it's the most amazing team, like unbelievable. So fortunate. The craftsmanship is unreal. It's unbelievable. And also, it's not only the cutting of the cloth, it's basically how, you know, the embellishment team, also the jewelry team as well. Each costume has a set of jewelry, which is, you know, Lorenzo, who you know, it's amazing. And you know, millinery as well, hair decorations, reticules, handbags as well. So it's the ensemble of the whole piece.
Yeah, it all comes together when you put the gloves
and
on.
I really, the gloves is always an element in fittings that any time an actress puts their gloves on, they're like, yes, I'm there. And also on set, I always really enjoy the warm coats coming off, the gloves going on, the handbags, and then everyone kind of going, my costume's better.
I mean, I feel that less because I'm a Featherington. I'm like, a lot of mine, you know, they're...
Oh, but they're so fun.
Some of them are so stunning. Like the one that's just here, that gold for the... I remember going into that fitting, it was one of the very first ones I fitted. And it was like, I was like, this is so beautiful for Penelope, like, you know. Then there'll always be some mad hairstyle to go with it that'll bring her back down to Featherington world.
Sometimes, like, it almost makes me sad because there are so many intricate details that might not necessarily be captured on screen. I remember one of my favorite dresses. It had this beautiful detailing in the back. Do you remember the one on the V? And I was like, we need to have a shot of the back of the dress, guys. We need to. So you sadly don't even get to see, like, so many of the intricate details that are on these costumes.
But then as a designer, you'd never know how a director's going to shoot. So, you know, I want to put all those elements in there because then it gives the director an opportunity to be able to shoot. And it's just beautiful. Yeah, it's so much fun.
I remember the back of some of the Spencer jackets.
Yeah.
It was like, I think it was actually on the riding habit there. And then there was in episode 7, the purple museum dress that was hand embroidered, all the flowers. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, there's probably about 4 days of hand embroidery work on one dress. So yeah. Absolute masters of their craft, the costume team at Bridgerton. I think a costume has to be practical as much as it has to be, you know, the aesthetic of it. So when looking at the script and understanding what a costume needs to do, for the ball dresses, for instance, we always make them slightly shorter. So you're able to, you know, everyone's able to dance in them. So we take off all the trains. On day dresses, I would add a train because, you know, they didn't really need to do as much work in them. But then with the riding habit of Kate's is traditionally, it's a traditional cut. So the skirt, you know, would naturally be as wide. But, you know, we make it as easy as possible to wear, but it's still difficult. It's still a challenge at times, isn't it? Especially the amount of action you had to do in that dress.
Yeah, but I mean, you get used to it so quickly. You feel so accustomed to the costume very, very quickly, and you just kind of, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of a nod to maybe how women felt during that time anyway.
Yeah. And I think that's with the corsets as well. The corsets are as comfortable as they can be, but naturally they're not jeans and t-shirts, so they're going to be, you know, but also that really does change everyone's posture when wearing them. You can see as soon as you start a fitting and the corset goes on, everyone's posture changes.
Yeah.
And I think that's you know, that helps develop the character as well.
It's about the world around these women. They wouldn't put a corset on their own. They had to have a maid doing it for them. In a corset, I couldn't like bend down and touch my shoes. We always had like amazing ADs on set helping us with that. But it educated us about what women in that time went through and how much they couldn't do on their own.
Then, you know, having a long corset and a short corset really, you know, we would look at scenes and we'd discuss what would be appropriate for those scenes. Because Bridgerton is not period correct in the action, in the way people move and sit or need to, you know, so the short corsets were used at times because then the action.
I'd come to you and go, I'm hiding money under a floorboard and I can't.
Oh, really?
I literally, and my corset's long, so I literally, I'm like, for the Frankenstein.
Because you had the full
sometimes.
corset majority of the time.
We've switched back and forward, yeah.
It would
So-
depend on the scene, and we'd just but that also would be the cut of the dress would be different. So as soon as we had the scene, we'd look at the action, and then we'd then fit you in the short corset. Then that dress could only be worn with the short corset because the short and the long corset is a completely
different shape.
So yeah,
and it worked well for some of the ball scenes where, you know, you felt like she would be a bit more rigid, and that, you know, Portia Featherington would have said, you know, we're getting this all and everything's so ridiculously in place in such an over-the-top way that it felt right to wear it for those things. But then sometimes when she's at home reading or when she's with Eloise, I'd say to Sophie, like, I really want her to be able to lean and sort of sit and be sort of that teenage girl. So it was nice to have the option to sort of switch it up.
But that decision had to be made before we, you know, started cutting the fabric because, you know, that's how the costume needed to sit.
I think I talk about my favourite costume all the time, and it has to be my wedding dress. I'm still trying to get Netflix to gift it to me, guys. I need an outfit to eat pizza, you know. But that dress is amazing, and I think it was like a really emotional moment when we put it on. I think we all kind of cried, actually. Aww. We really did. And just the back of that dress, it takes 2 people 2 days just to do the end lace stitching at the back of that dress. And there were 2 of those dresses made. And like, it was a spectacular gown. And at least amongst the crew, that was the dress in which I got the most compliments. I think everyone just, you
walking down the aisle in that, oh my gosh. Just my favourite, I always say this, in episode 5, at the beginning, at the Queen's Court, I guess like a peacock blue, that dress with the fan,
and the beautiful.
I loved that dress so much.
A velvet with a French embroidery. We had that embroidered in France, and it was beautiful.
It had gloves, a fan, everything. That colour, I loved it.
The Art Deco style.
Yeah, and the train as well. It was just,
and the homage
beautiful.
to India with
on the back of it, they had the embroidery, like that golden kind of embroidery. Yeah, oh, it was beautiful. That was my favourite.
I think my favourite one was from the Hearts and Flowers Ball, which is episode 4. And it was this amazing beaded gown. Again, one of the ones that I tried on and went, this is too nice for Penelope.
And it was really heavy
It was really heavy. So it was all a beaded fabric that then had more embellishment added onto it. And we wore that with the long corset. And it just fit so beautifully. And I had a scene where I had to run up the stairs in it. And I was going really slow. They were like, can you go quicker? I was like, no, I physically can't but it was just stunning. It reminded me of like a Miu Miu like runway piece. It was just absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous.
Yeah, and then the embellishers took the flowers and then ran them all around.
Added on here.
So,
and
it was beautiful.
Beautiful gown, so gorgeous.
I loved my corsets as well. The lilac one.
It's gorgeous.
The embroidery on it, I loved it. I never wore a corset before my fittings and filming this show, and I'm definitely converted.
And now she wears one every day.
Yeah, not quite every day, but maybe now and then. That's my eating pizza.
Just a corset.
Yeah.
It's really hard because I get asked my favourite costume all the time, and I always say it's a bit like a parent asking who their favourite child is.
Because every parent does have a favourite.
But I know I think also when you're designing for Bridgerton, it's about the sense of a scene as well, and the ensemble of everyone together. So it's really tricky. Yours would be, I think, what you wore for Philippa's wedding.
Oh, Baby Doll Starfish.
Baby Doll Starfish.
That was a secret name.
We make up names for the dresses just to keep up with,
That was such a beautiful one.
That was fun.
I was going to guess your favourite was Philippa's wedding dress because it was on the screen for nanoseconds, but when we saw that dress, it was incredible. It was overdone in a Featherington way, but still so tasteful. Of these layers up.
Yeah, it was like a ruched layer at the back, and it had plastic flowers, and it was
really
over the top.
but still so gorgeous.
Yeah. So I don't know, but then I don't know. No, I really can't. There's just so many. The wedding dresses, your wedding dress as well, and I love the difference between your wedding dresses, even though they're the same fabrics. Your bridesmaid dress as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The way that moves in the scene is like.
Yeah, and also we can't forget the men as well, you know.
The fencing.
Oh, we can. They're not here. Don't worry about them.
Those fencing outfits were just.
I don't know.
QC. My gosh, QC.
I know, she's got so many. So yeah,
It's a little understated though. Is the only
My
issue I have
favourite
with it.
QC one was in Hampton Court in episode 2, the blue.
good.
And our purple. Yeah, the purple was amazing.
There's too many, guys. Too many.
Just, no, I don't know. I can't choose.